Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us on Baseball Outside the Box. This is a show that loves to interview baseball's best coaching minds who love to challenge the status quo. And we are thrilled that you can join us for another episode. We are just back from the awesome country and island of Tenerife, Spain. I'm going to talk about that because what a program we had there for a week. It was outstanding. Before I do, just a couple quick announcements. One, don't forget, email me at caliendo19@gmail.com. As you know, Caliendo Sports International, we take teams all over the world for competition, cultural experiences. We take baseball, softball, we've taken lacrosse, we've taken um, volleyball, soccer. We could take any sport that you like anywhere in the world for that 8 to 9 days cultural sports experience. Take your team or join one of our teams. You could join us as a player, as a coach. There's many ways to gain international experience. And I'm telling you, I've been in the game a long time internationally, and it is the most exciting and most satisfying of all. You meet some great people. It's that one experience. And remember, if you're a travel team, if you're, whatever team you may be, high school, you've done a lot of things. You've taken travel teams around the country into tournaments, in the competition. There's a lot of those, and they're all great. But you know what? Take them to that one international experience, one time. Now's the time to do it because you can start organizing. We organize everything for you. You name it, hotel, our own bus the whole time, our own driver, sightseeing, games, umpires, referees, whatever it is. It's all organized, all taken care of. The parents and players join us. It's one big group. We take the group overseas. You're with us all the time with our staff at Caliendo Sports International. So if you want to join us, learn more about it, email me, caliendo19@gmail.com. Also want to mention, as you know, I'm vice president of the International Sports Group. I'm President Tom O'Connell. And the ISG baseball, we have for over 30 years, it's been over 30 years doing coaching training programs around the world. We basically sent 2, 3 coaches on a weekend to that country. All the countries are country coaches, I should say, come from all over for a great weekend of education, whether it's classroom, sometimes in a gym. There's a lot of interaction going on with the coaches. We take care of our coaches going there, and we work with the federations and basically housing them and feeding them at a hotel for that weekend. So it'd be roughly a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes. Well, we actually come in on Thursday. If you're interested, if you're a country that wants to check out this program, just email me, caliendo19@gmail.com. And by the way, for any sponsors out there, let me tell you what a great way to sponsor something all over the world, educating coaches in the game of baseball. So let me know, and I will be in touch with you. Hey, folks, it's been an interesting week. Let me tell you, one of the most exciting times I've had in the game of baseball. I've had some great ones, and this is at the top. I was very lucky to be asked by the Secretary General, Kruno Karen of WBSC SEP, which is the European Baseball Federation, governing baseball in Europe, doing a fantastic job. Kruno and everybody there is outstanding. They're doing fantastic at developing the game. They keep growing the game in Europe, as you know. But I was very honored. He asked me to be a coach for the first annual Euro Baseball Winter League. Now, I know Winter League sounds like a league. That happens to be the name of the event, but what it really was 48 players. It's the first time 48 players from all over Europe, 18 and under, going to Tenerife, Spain. All the federations in Europe received the information, and they were able to recommend 2 players. They wanted to get 2 top players from that country. The idea was, and still is, to bring in the best European players at that age group, give them more competition, more games. Right now it's just a week. Next year they're looking at 11, 12 days. Give them more competition, give them outstanding coaching, training. They can do practices. We actually practiced on the field. We also had classroom work. We're going to enhance this program a lot more, and I want you to know about it. I really want you to experience it because it was an outstanding experience. And if I'm a federation, take a look at sending 2 of your top players. Even if you have to pay for their airfare there, their housing, all that, or maybe it can be a split. There's many ways to do this. Find a sponsor. It's really a great benefit because what the guys got out of this, not only playing with players from other countries in Europe, playing alongside them, training alongside, competing against them, because we also had a little miniature tournament, and yes, I'll brag a little bit. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the way you want to look at it, um, you know, there was a little luck in this. I was the manager of the winning team in a tournament, but really, the reason we won, I want to tell you about it because this is part of the show, and that is everybody thinks, you go out and get some of the best players, and that it's going to make you a great team. I think we all understand all the best players on a team are not always going to be a winning team. It's the quality players that really mean it. I remember being in independent ball. Sure, we wanted top players in independent professional baseball. When I recruited for the different leagues and different teams, I wanted some very good players. But the number one question was, what's their character? Are they good teammates? Yeah, I wanted to match the character, the teammate part with the athlete because we want certain things in players, whether it be pitching or defense or hitting. We want to see certain skills that kind of work together in a type of team you're putting together. But at the same time, character was big, and with this team, these guys knew it. They didn't have maybe the best talent in the world, but or best talent at that event with the 48 players that were in from Europe, and they were all the way from Czech Republic, Spain, Hungary, Lithuania, Slovakia. Some of the players from Spain had moved to Spain, and they were from Cuba, Venezuela, and the Dominican, but now are in Spain and play for the Spanish teams. So there was a lot of great competition, and it's interesting that the MVP of the tournament was one of our players from Lithuania, Martin, I call him. What a fabulous individual. He was part of that chemistry because he kept the team loose. Had Mergens, another guy that kept the teams loose. Want to give a shout out to him. I mean, we had a lot of good players and a lot of good kids, and they really got along well. We lost our first game, could have gone downhill from there, right? Nope. These guys battled. They kept going. They believed. And you know what? Our coaching staff, I got to give them so much credit. First of all, Mark Juaneda was one of our coaches. He was actually our pitching coach. He did give signs to the pitchers. Our first day we didn't, and then we kind of gradually built into that because it was a short event. And the players want to win, right? So you want to give them the best ability to win in that short event right away. Now, the idea is to get catchers to train themselves, work with the coaching staff, work with the pitchers, and start calling pitches as young as possible. Yes, I'm a big believer in that. I'm not a believer in waiting to high school and college to start calling pitches. I believe you get these kids at, even if it's fastball changeup and you got them at 11, 12 years old, whatever the pitch may be, hopefully it's fastball changeup, nothing else for now at that age. But if you do happen to have a curveball, then it's, another signal. Just make sure they can get them over for strikes. Important thing is, what I really believe in is that they start making the calls. Now, I know what coaches are going to say, well, I'm going to lose games. Well, that's sometimes, losing games, whether practice games or it's not, maybe not tournaments. You know what? That's a learning experience because when they come in, you could talk about why'd you call that pitch? What'd you think in that situation? What did you think about the hitter? A good way to do this is, yeah, you start calling pitches little by little. You call them so they start getting a pretty good idea of what it takes to call pitches because it's an art. So, but if you can start them at the younger ages, fastball, changeup, and maybe zones, up, down, um, inside, outside, a diagonal, throwing a pitch up here and then one down here. I mean, there's many ways to do that. And you know what? Now they start to learn on their own a little bit. And then once they feel comfortable, like, okay, I got an idea. I got to look at the catcher's feet. I got to look at where his stance is. Does he stand too close to the plate? Does he stand away from the plate? Up in front, back? Is he moving his feet? What kind of stance is he? Is a crouch stance? Does he have a high stance? That also can tell you some of the pitches he can see and some of the pitches he may be able to hit. Did you watch him in batting practice as a catcher and pitcher? If they do take batting practice before a game, or on deck when they take a swing, because a lot of those swings on deck and in BP or batting practice are going to be very similar. They're not going to be able to change their swing come game time. They're going to have the same swing they have till they change it when it comes to training if they need to change something. So you can start training your catchers at a very young age. You start calling the pitches, they start learning, then you let them on their own a little bit, then you mix it up. One inning you call, another inning they call. There's so many ways to do this to get them to be knowledgeable because if you can get them to learn how to do that, boy, when you get to high school and college, they're going to be so much better. So we did that again with our pitching coach from Spain, also with the Spanish Federation, Mark Juaneda, outstanding job. If it wasn't for him, There's no doubt about it. We would have never won that event. I'm going to give a shout out to Leo, our coach from Venezuela, who now lives in Tenerife, Spain. Hey, also the great coaching staff that we had during this event. Now, remember, it's education, right? Yeah, you want to give them a tournament, give them some fun, give them training on the field, classroom work. There's a lot of education going on, but this was all headed up by double A coach with the Atlanta Braves. They are legends there. Nestor Perez, junior and senior. They've been there a long time, especially senior. The field is named after him in Tenerife, Spain. AstroTurf Field, right on the ocean. Hotels right near it. Just a great, great place. And they've been running some great programs there, not just this one, but camps for kids all over Europe. We're looking to take one of our teams from the U.S. there to compete and to have some fun and build that cultural baseball experience there. Also, man, we had a great pitching coach, Manny Oliveira, and Manny Double A. First of all, with the Cubs, he was with several major league teams. He's outstanding. He had all the technology there, working with the guys. The guys really loved it, and you can see the pitchers within days, just on spin rate, understanding the grip because they could see it on the Rapsodo. They can see the angle of the wrist and start making adjustments and then next thing you know, I mean, these are actual results on what because they saw themselves on video. They saw the statistics behind it right there live. Then they worked on a couple things and it was amazing. Right into the next game, it helped a lot of pitchers, not just on our team, but the other two teams also. So shout out to Manny. I mean, I want to try to shout as many people as I can here, but Alex Durhak was the Czech, another manager who's the Czech national team. Go listen to him. It's the episode prior to this, Baseball Outside the Box. Remember, um, he's from the Czech Republic, an American who played, he played college baseball in the U.S. and coached in Australia, played in Australia also. He was one of the coaches. Tomas from the Czech Republic, a former, now current, still playing, and also national team coach. We had Dr. And I don't want to mispronounce it, but I think I'm going to. Noah, Dr. Noah talked on nutrition, mental health. I mean, she was outstanding. She was there all the time during the whole event to make sure everything goes well, anything the players needed. Angel, our buddy, he is the um, clubby for the Atlanta Braves, champion Atlanta Braves. He's in the minor league system. This guy's going to be in the big leagues. Antonio was there. Jose Luis Rivera was the other manager from Spain who had one of the other teams. I'm sure I missed some people, but there's just the whole staff was outstanding. Antonio, by the way, was the athletic trainer. What a great background he has, and he talked about flexibility, strength, mobility. He also talked about sleep. And there's sort of many discussions. I mean, think of the professionals we had at this camp. It was incredible. Not to mention the scouts that were there. There were some scouts there internationally, other Spanish coaches from Tenerife. We had players from Tenerife. So I got to tell you, a shout out to Nestor Perez, Euro Baseball Winter League, outstanding, one of the best experiences I've ever had. And I want to tell all the European baseball federations. The reason I'm doing this show right now is I want you to go ahead and take a look at this. Get a hold of Nestor. Get a hold of me at caliendo19@gmail.com. I'll put you in touch. Um, and you've got to send a couple players. Next year, we want to have a couple players from every country, and then we're going to have 4 countries possibly that might have 8 players each. Those will be the 4 teams. Then we fill in the rest with the players coming from all the countries, and it will be a tremendous experience. More days. We're going to even make this program even better. And listen, you don't have to talk to me. You know, we can put you in touch with the players. The players had so much fun. What a cultural experience. What a life experience, growing experience. But not to mention all the baseball stuff that we did was outstanding. And I got to tell you, what was my message to the players? Remember, I said that. Well, these are players I've never seen before. The other coaches never saw their team. We got together, we had one practice, and then rock and roll into the tournament right away. As we're doing our classroom work and everything else that we were doing, we're all staying at the same hotel. What was my message to them? It was simple. Hey, listen, you can only do what you could do up till now. How well you play now is how well you're going to play. Don't try to do more. You do more in practice and training, and that way you become better, and then it'll transfer into the game. But right now, do what you can do your best, but more importantly, be smart. Make decisions. think ahead. Think what somebody else would do, your coach would do, you would do. If that situation comes up. An example, tie ball game, first and third, right? You got nobody out, maybe one out. Possibly, let's say you got two outs, first and third, tie ball game, ninth inning. You're the um, visiting team. It could be a situation where your ninth hitter's up. You got two outs. You want to take a risk. You do a walk off at first base. See if the defense can react to that, especially if they haven't played together. You possibly get that run in and take the lead. We've had players make that decision during the event. We've had players make their own decision that they weren't hitting real well. They put a bunt down third, got on base. Now we got first and second, nobody out. Where maybe if they swung the bat, maybe they didn't get a hit. I mean, there's so many things. That's what I love about this. We had players make decisions on stealing bases. Yeah, I let them make the decision. Now, if I felt there was a critical time, I might put the stop sign on. But during this event, I wanted them to make the decisions. If they had an idea, about the lineup, because I didn't know the players. When I made the lineup, I discussed it with them. If they had an idea how to maybe change the lineup or positions, they know players that play a better position. I thought they might be good at one position, but they've seen them longer. Input to the manager, input to the coaches. Communication is so critical. Don't have that ego and say, oh, I know it all. I'll make the decision because I'm the manager. Nothing wrong with input, folks. You still make the final decision, but there's nothing wrong with getting input from your players, coaches, or anybody else that you think has some knowledge that maybe you need to have to make that final decision. So that was my message to the players. Go out and have fun. What's fun? Fun is making decisions. Make a decision on his base pass. The ball's in front of you. Hey, it's life. You think you can make it? Make it. Know the outs. Know the arms of the outfielder. That's your responsibility, not mine. I've got to know it also from the standpoint if the ball's behind you, I'll make that call, right? If I'm coaching third base, but if the ball's in front of you, make that call, make that decision. You'll make it much quicker. By the time I give you a signal and you react, because you got to see it visually, you've got to that visual part's got to get into the brain. The brain's got to tell the body, wow, that takes a little bit of time. I know the body and the brain are so important. I mean, so fantastic that they can react pretty quick, but not as quick as if you made the decision on your own. If you made a decision on your own, you may make a mistake, but you'll learn from that mistake. And again, you make a good decision if you're prepared to make a decision and if you have the proper information and know how to get that information. You're on base. What are you going to do? Look at the outfielders. How deep are they? Are they right? Are they left? Have you seen the arms? What about the wind? There's so many things you can, put into your brain. How many outs? What's the score? You've got to know that, right? Are we down by a lot? Are we up a lot? Are we need a run? Are there two outs? I might have to be a little bit more aggressive, get to third because you can score more, from third base than you can from second with two outs. I know people say don't make the last out at third base. Well, that depends. I don't want to take aggressiveness from my players. That's my philosophy. I want people to be smart and aggressive. And sometimes you're going to take that chance. If that's that 99% chance that you're going to be safe at third, take it. Obviously, if the chances are lower, then maybe you won't take that chance to make the third out. But we had players that made some great decisions, and yes, we had some players that didn't make fantastic decisions. And how did we react to that? We simply went in and asked a simple question. How did you make that decision? What information did you get to make that decision? Why did you make that decision? Interesting, because I learned by listening to the players talk. I learned from them something I didn't know and I didn't realize. They also learned from me because maybe, when they gave me an answer, I said, well, did you think about this? Did you realize that there were nobody out? The hitter on deck is 3 and 4, 4 and 5, and they've been really good and they've been hitting the ball really hard and we got first and third, and you're maybe a good runner, a pretty fast runner, but not fast enough. The timing wasn't there. The pitcher was fast to home. The catcher had a decent throw. I mean, many situations, do you want to take that chance stealing second, and now you got a man on third with one out and your better hitters coming up, or do you want first and third with your better hitters coming up? Yes, you can hit into a double play. That's a situation, so you can be staying out of double play, or you could also take us out of an inning because maybe the pitcher was struggling a little bit, so maybe you might even get a walk, and then another good hitter coming up. There's so many things to think about ahead of time, and all I asked the players was, hey, listen, you make the decisions. You make it with good information by thinking ahead, thinking one or two plays ahead, maybe an inning ahead. What about up the bat? There's decisions you're going to make there. No, How many outs are there? What's the count? What do you think this pitcher is gonna throw me? Those are decisions. Those are things you're thinking about in your mind prior to hitting, because you don't want to think about your mechanics. But when you're thinking about maybe where you're going to hit the ball, or maybe what the count is, when you're thinking about that, it's taken away from you thinking about your body, my movement patterns, all that stuff that really, is mind boggling. So I let the players know, what pitch would you throw in this situation? It's a 2-0 pitch. He's got two pitches. He hasn't been getting over his breaking ball real well. Don't you think a fastball's coming 2-0? Hey, good time to hit. Sometimes the question came up, can I hit the first pitch? Well, does that depend on what? What the score is. Maybe we need 4 or 5 runners. I mean, we're down 4 or 5 runs, 6 runs. We need runners on base. It's late in the game. Maybe you might want to take some pitches, and then you got to battle with 2 strikes. Or is it a situation where we got second and third, and I'm down 2, but I got a a great pitch that I love, and if I could drive it, it'll score 2 runs. Hey, let's take that chance. Why? Because you may never get that pitch in that situation. Once they get that 1 strike, now they're not throwing. They're not going to try to throw in that zone, and who knows if they're going to make that mistake twice. Now they're hitting the corners off speed pitches. Now you're behind in the count. So I believe that if you have that one pitch that you really love, sometimes you got to take a hack at it, and you got to have confidence in your players. You got to let them know, hey, you're a good hitter. If you see your pitch and what's your pitch, understand what that pitch is. If you don't know what your pitch is, you can't go up to hit. Because you're looking for that one pitch in that situation. Situation came up. So one of the players asked me, hey, it's 3-0. Can I got a man on second, 1 out. If I like the pitch, can I go after it? Sure. We looked at the score. What was the score? Tie ball game. Man on second base, very good hitter up. Why take away from a really good swing and a base hit and possible scoring? A lot of times when the runners are on second base, we let them know ahead of time also. Um, you know, hey, you tell me what the outs are, and I'll get into that in a second. But we let the hitters know that with 2 outs, they're gonna be scoring from second base, okay, till we stop you. If we stop you, you got to be diving back to the base, because that means we're making it close, or we're trying to draw a throw to get the batter runner to second base. So we're making those decisions split second. So you got to be diving back, but we want them to know that, because they have to also take a really good aggressive secondary, smart one. Know that the catcher was going to throw back pick to shortstop or second base at second, trying to get them if they don't get back right away. So again, we're educating, but we're asking questions of the players. So that's why I tell you that this was an exciting, exciting week, because man, we got to do a lot of coaching, but we got to do a lot of asking. We found out a lot of information from the players, um, and we knew what they could not do at that particular moment. I think they learned a lot also. So let me tell you, one of the best trips I've ever had. Again, the Euro Baseball Winter League in Tenerife, Spain. Folks, this is a short show. Wanted to give you some information on what we did in Tenerife, how we worked with the players, some of the things we did with the players. There was a lot more than that. But we interacted with them. I should throw this in there. When we had classroom, man, there was a lot of interaction. It wasn't just a lecture, right? Get guys up, doing things, showing them, demonstrating with them, asking questions to them, letting them answer the question. If you got even more time, I love to have some interactive stuff. Give them some baseball cards, or maybe you've got some special gift. I have some wristbands, that I might want to give out to somebody who did really well and explain something really well. That gets guys and gals motivated to be more of a participant, which I was not when I was young, because I hated to participate. I was so scared to give the wrong answer. But we got to encourage young people not to be afraid. Give the answer. I wish I had that when I was younger. Give an answer. Whatever the answer is, the answer is. All right, you're going to learn from it. Life goes on. It may not be a great one, and it could be a fantastic one, and we could all learn from it. So again, folks, don't forget, check us out, baseballoutsidethebox.com. Please continue to send us, our information, social media. The show keeps growing, growing, growing. And I got something special coming up, because the show's going to expand. Yes, Baseball Outside the Box will be expanding. We'll explain more as we get a little closer. We continue to go around the world. Also, check me out on Copabe Podcast. Google Copabe, Copabe podcast. We interview some people around the world in Copabe. Copabe represents North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean. It's the governing body of the sport. Some of the best baseball countries in the world are part of Copabe. Check out that podcast. I'm honored to be the host on it, and I love talking international baseball. So the other thing is, don't forget, go to Facebook, Twitter, Facebook Peter Caliendo, Twitter Baseball Out, Instagram Caliendo.Peter, email Caliendo19 at gmail.com. Email anytime, any questions you might have, any guests you might want. And please have an open mind. The shows are not always going to bring you what you believe. And if you don't believe in something that we're discussing with a guest, okay, that's fine. Bring your research. Come on to the show if you like. We just want to get information out there. You've got to make the determination whether you want to use that information as a coach, player, parent, whoever you may be. Are we always right in bringing the right guests or the right information? Of course not. We just love to bring it out to you. You decide and do us a favor. Don't get mad because we bring something that maybe you are not happy with, right? Okay, well, that's okay. That's what's great about this podcast and the world is we can express our opinions and discuss them very well. And that's one of the things we need to do more often. I love to have discussions. So check us out. Don't forget. Thank you, folks. You guys have been fantastic. Over 100 countries. We have listeners in, and we want to keep expanding not just the countries, but the audience within all these countries, including the U.S. Help us do that just by letting everybody know about the show, because we're going to be increasing some of our topics that will include a lot more audience when it comes to baseball descriptions and baseball shows. So, again, I'm Pete Caliendo. Thanks for joining me today. And don't forget, be safe, be healthy. God bless you. And we will see you on the next show.